2023 was interesting. I left a high paying job and took a 50% pay cut. I cashed out a pension. I requested a refund from every penny I paid to my student loans during the payment pause. I did a lot of financially controversial things in 2023. So it's interesting just to see how I progressed financially even though I did those things. Now, just a quick snippet on big picture situation for anyone who might be new here. Hello, my name is Rachel. I am a millennial with student loan debt. Shocking, I know. 2017, I was probably at my financial worst. I had about a negative $231,000 net worth. Carried a handful of credit cards with revolving balances. I had a medical debt. I had a used car loan that just wouldn't go away. And 9, I think, different private student loan lenders, as well as my big federal student loan balance, which was the behemoth of any balance. So 2018, I landed a high-paying job, and I just sequentially started attacking my debts. I did the debt snowball, and I started with the smallest one because after an entire adulthood of being broke and living paycheck to paycheck before that, I needed small financial wins to even get me feeling started, motivated, and feel like I'm progressing financially in any way. And it was a nice change of pace. And so 2018 kind of kicked off the whole process of tracking my finances and seeing what kind of progress I can make. I took that job knowing I was going to hate it and knowing it was a limited time thing. So I knew I needed to remain intentional about my spending, so I tried to keep my living expenses as if I was still broke, and then using all of my extra money to fist at debt and investing for the first time in my life. So it's been a long 6 years since then, and 2023, at the end of February, actually, 5 years plus 1 day at that last job, and I finally walked away, and that was very mentally hard for me. I thought I was going to immediately slip back into paycheck to paycheck living, all of the fears of that can come up when you do walk away from a high paying job, but I just mentally needed to. That job was so mentally damaging for me, and I'm so happy 2023 was like the year of letting all that shit go. So I walked away from that job at the end of February, 5 years plus 1 day, to make sure I was fully vested in the pension that they offered, and started this new job at a 50% less pay. And despite that, and despite mentally almost entirely stepping back from giving a shit about finances for the majority of the year, I still progressed. So I'm excited to share that progression with you guys, where I'm at today and what things are going to look like going forward for 2024. Before we get into the numbers though, I think it's really important to note that from 2018 to early 2023, that was 5 solid years of building positive financial habits and really keeping my expenses, my finances in general, at a minimum, keeping things really easy. And that allowed me to build habits like Transfer Tuesdays. I joined the Transfer Tuesday bandwagon, something that Mary at Pennies Over Perfection started years ago on her channel, and tons of people have joined the Transfer Tuesday community as well. And it's just built a positive weekly habit of checking in with myself, making sure I'm not spending out of control, I'm still setting money aside for saving, and I'm still investing. Weekly positive habits were built in that time, and they carried me through 2023, so I was still able to make positive progress despite stepping way back in 2023 and essentially being hands off from my money for a solid chunk of the year, because I just needed to mentally recover from that 5 years of hell. And that's what it was for me personally. That job was hell. But on the same foot, I'm so insanely grateful. Without that job, without that high income for that amount of time, this financial turnaround in my life would have taken longer. I recognize that. Again, I knew that going into the job. It was going to be terrible, but there was a purpose behind it. For all of my adult life, student loans have ruined I meant to say ruled, but let's be honest, ruined my financial existence. When you come out of college and you're fresh into your career, it feels like a time you should start to be worrying about things like settling down, buying a home, starting a family, doing those kinds of things. But student loans have just taken the cake for me, and they've ruled everything. For those few years after I graduated, I was making so little, like what's normal in the progression of your career. You start out small, so student loans come in and hit you when you're at your lowest income in life, in theory. And the compounding interest just spun it out of control. My balance just went up for years. I still to this day owe more than I ever borrowed, and it sucks, it's shitty. But 2023, I just said, you know what, I cannot let these things mentally and financially rule my life anymore. So that's kind of the overall air of 2023 and going forward. So just wanted to preface these numbers with all of that backstory for anyone who might be new here or just needed a recap. Now let's get into the numbers, which is the fun part. And then after that, we'll just touch briefly on what things will look like going forward for 2024. Now you already know I am a spreadsheet nerd, so we are pulling up the spreadsheet. So what I have here is just my assets and liabilities column. So my net worth. And basically I'm just keeping track of my savings, my investments, how my rental property is doing, as well as my federal student loan balance. So as you can see, my list of assets is all of these things here, and my liabilities is the one lump of federal student loans. How I track these numbers is on the last day of the month. I will update all of these values to what the account actually reflects on that day. So January, you can see I had a negative $33,775 net worth, but that was actually on the last day of January. So to get January 1st's value, I went back to my 2022 spreadsheet and I grabbed the value from the last day in December, which was negative $37,673. So just know this value here that you're seeing was actually a little bit worse than that, but it doesn't matter. What we're talking about here is really big picture. We're just going to start with net worth because it's the most fun for me, and it's only been fun for me in 2023. And that's because, as you can see, things started getting close to the positive. And I was like, you know what? I've never given a shit about net worth, but that's just because I never in my life knew when or even could fathom that a positive net worth would be a thing. I knew it would be a thing, but I just didn't think anytime soon. So when it started to get more like a closer possibility, I started paying a little bit more of attention to it. And October came. And whew, I was so happy I finally crossed to a positive net worth. Again, 18 years old, I took out my first student loan and I've been in the negative ever since. I'm now 38 years old. 20 years later, I finally hit a positive net worth for the first time in my adult life. Woo! It was kind of a big deal, and it's been fun ever since. It's only been a few months since then, but look at the insane growth in my net worth at the end of the year. And a lot of that did have to do with my 401k and that the markets came back a little bit. Granted, they started the year a lot stronger, even than they are now today, but who cares? I have no control over the stock market, so that doesn't really matter. But overall, an increase in my net worth of over $49,000 in 1 year, despite taking a 50% pay cut towards the end of February. I just am so proud of myself. It's insane. I just can't even. My mind is just blown, in case it hasn't been obvious for the last few months. It just is so hard to wrap my head around because, I don't know, when you go so long with or in what feels like an absolutely desperate situation, a bit hard to believe when you finally feel yourself peeling out of that shit situation. So, yay. Okay, before I start talking more about the numbers, there are some things that are worth noting. Like I said, I requested a refund from every penny that I paid towards my student loans during the pandemic payment pause, which was $25,150. So that amount came back to me in May, which means that in May, my student loan balance went back up by that amount. That was incredibly controversial, I understand. But I did that because there was so much up in the air at the time about student loans and student loan forgiveness and all of the drama that was building from the impending end of the payment pause, right? So I was just like, this feels unpredictable. I'm not sure what's going on. And if they do randomly somehow forgive everybody, like, I want my money back. So I pulled it back. Do I regret it? No. No. Like I said, student loans are here. They're with me for the long haul. Like, there's just no point in stressing myself out. I don't even know if that's the right wording to say. I don't really have a great excuse for why I did this, other than I feel like I can use that money to more positively impact my financial situation in the immediate. I didn't just go blow through that money. I'm not just going to go drop it on a car or some dumb shit. Like, that is very specifically going to be used for the purpose of investing. And same with the pension that I cashed out. And again, also incredibly controversial, but I requested that cash out in May, and my pension account had like $20,500-ish, and I knew my payout of that would be about $16,000. So as I've been fighting Fidelity for that payout for several months, I finally got notification on December 30th, I think, that they were going to, you'll have your money by the first of the year. Naturally, they wanted me to electronically receive the payout in 2023 just so that I could be taxed on it in 2023, even though I didn't actually get the money until yesterday, which was the second. I didn't get the money until 2024, but I'm treating it as if it's a 2023 thing since I'll be taxed on it for 2023. So the actual value was $16,579. So what I'm doing with that pension cash out, as well as the student loan refund that I requested, those are going to be used for real estate. You guys know I am, and have been for a little while, shopping for a house hack, which means I'm going to be buying a multifamily property and living in one unit and renting out the others. And my goal for that is to reduce my monthly housing expense. That is like the one expense that I really don't have a lot of control over, and it's my largest monthly expense, just like it is for most people. So through house hacking, through real estate, I want to get to a place where I can drastically reduce that. It's not going to be right away. It's not going to be right with this first property, but over time, second property, even third property, I absolutely have a firm belief that I'll be able to drastically reduce and hopefully completely eliminate my monthly housing expense. Of course, when that opens up that much extra money for me every month, then I can get really serious about fisting more money towards my student loans and towards investing. And so in my head, it's some steps back as far as progress with my paying down my student loans and progress in investing in retirement account options like my pension, to theoretically open up finances for me a few years down the road, but certainly a lot more short term than 65 years old. I hope all of that made sense, but that's how my brain works. Like, I'm looking for the here and now. I'm trying to retire way before 65 because I'm not about that life. Sorry. But financial independence is incredibly important to me. And then overall, I completed saving up for my full emergency fund in June. All of my sinking funds were fully funded in July. And then from there, it was what do I do from here? And that was when I switched all of my savings aside from the emergency fund and sinking funds, trying to save up in cash the full balance that I do owe on my student loans, which is currently $178,209. Slightly less than the $185,000 that was after I requested the refund from my student loans. But that's because in August I paid $7,600-ish towards the outstanding interest, so I could go into September, go into student loan repayment, and now interest rates are back. I wanted a totally clean slate on outstanding interest. And that's because if you have student loans or have been dealing with them, you know any outstanding interest you don't pay off every month just gets compounded into your balance so that you owe even more the next month. And it's just a shitty cycle that you can't ever escape from. And so many people like myself watched their balances balloon from that shitty compounding interest structure for years on end, and it's bullshit. I just wanted to go into September with a clean slate, and I didn't fully understand how the SAVE program worked at that time. Now they just are like wiping away that additional accruing interest every month, and that's great. However, most people's balances are not going down every month because they're just making an interest-only payment that will never touch their balance. So it's just, anyway, it's just a shitty thing. It just is what it is. Student loans suck. Avoid them if you can. Or at least be smart about them. Don't be like Rachel. God, I hate student loans. I'm so sick of talking about them. So my 401k started the year stronger than it's ending, but she certainly took a little bit of a sleep there in the middle of the year, so that helped bring me back for the last few months of the year. Same with my Roth. And just real quick, I contribute to a Roth. No, excuse me. I contribute to my 401k every single paycheck. I do 6% because that is what my company match offers. They offer like 40% of a 6% contribution or some shit like that. Whatever. I just do the full amount to whatever they'll match so that I get the most free money out of my employer as possible. I'm not super hard in the retirement accounts for all the reasons I just talked about and wanting to hit financial independence much earlier, but I still appreciate what a retirement account can do for you in the later years in life when you do want to scale back and step back from maybe working so hard. So I will always contribute to them just for that purpose, so I can step back later in life, but in a balanced way so that I still have money now to hit my financial independent goals in the now. So I did not max out either my 401k or my Roth for 2023. For my 401k, I actually only contributed $3,369.20. And a Roth, guys, I went real sad on the Roth this year again for all the reasons I talked about, but I only contributed $517.46. I'll probably make a little bit more of an effort on the Roth front in 2024. We'll see what happens if I end up buying a property and things change and I need more money like day to day in the now, then I may feel differently about that in the future, but whatever. Health savings account, that's also definitely something I contribute to every single paycheck, and I don't know exactly how much I contributed. I didn't look it up, but you guys know healthcare scares the shit out of me in this country. When I am financially independent and I don't have an employer-sponsored healthcare program anymore and I have to start paying for it out of pocket, not only do I know it's insanely expensive, but also like the coverage is just way shittier, and it's going to take a lot of research to find a great option, but healthcare scares the shit out of me. One bad health problem in this country can financially cripple you, and that sucks. So I'm trying to bolster that by having money in an HSA. I'm going to definitely contribute to that as long as I always can, and couple that with living the healthiest lifestyle that I can to stave off any kind of health related things. Anyway, crypto is not something I invested in. We don't care. Okay, pension cash out. So going forward, this value of this pension cash out will be lumped into this real estate savings category, as they're in their own account. They're growing over there. We don't pay attention to them because all things real estate I have set up to operate in the background and just exist. So speaking of real estate, sorry we're jumping all over this graph, but who cares? Rental number 1. So this is the one rental property that I own. I bought it in 2021, the end of 2021. It was a shit show of a process. I bought it long distance. I'm in New England. That bee is in Missouri. So I've never seen the house before, and not exactly a conventional way to invest in real estate, but somehow I feel like I fell in shit and came out smelling like roses with that little house because damn. So it was like a 9-month purchase process, and it was just a shitty process. We'll call it that. That's okay. It worked out, and then I got the next tenant. She was a housing assistance program tenant, and she has been in there for 2 years. And her lease was up 3 days ago at the end of December, but she did request a 1-month extension. Rent growth went pretty good in that time, and what the property management team projects that it can rent for now is over $250 a month more than what it was before. So I feel like that'll be really working out for me in my favor in 2024. So that's exciting. Also, in that rent growth period, we all know real estate growth went insane as well. I still get at least once a week a text message, a phone call, or an email, someone wanting to buy my property off of me. No, sorry, it's not happening. But it just gives me so much peace of mind that I made a good move there, despite it not looking good for quite some time. I feel like it's turned into, and hopefully will continue to be, the little house that could for me. It's just a little 2-bedroom, 1-bath nugget, but man, that thing cash flows really well. You have to go into real estate knowing that it's going to cost you money, and it's not an immediate payoff. It is a long-term investment that generally takes you backwards at the beginning while you're getting a property stabilized and getting things ironed out and getting your flow, finding the right property management team. It's a process. So I do invest in FundRise, which is just crowd-funded real estate investing. So that's real estate investing without actually dealing with a property. So I dabble with that too. But overall, this graph right here, that's it for me. That's what matters. I stepped way back in my income, but yet made insane progress because of the healthy habits I established 2018 through 2023. And no surprise here, but those habits are going to be carried forward. So let's talk about those now. Since mental health was my priority for 2023, I took the focus way off of finances in my day-to-day life. Obviously, I still shared every single week with you guys because Transfer Tuesdays are such a habit. But on the personal side, I spent a ton of money on experiences, concerts, live music, that kind of thing. Big thousands of dollars. And I don't feel bad for that 1 ounce. Going forward in 2024, I'm going to do that but in a more balanced approach. It was a bit rapid fire last year, as in I'm just going with a whim, doing what I want. This year, going forward, I now know what music festivals I want to go to, and I can financially prepare for them. In fact, I already bought a ticket because right now they're offering early bird savings tickets to buy ahead of time. So saving money by planning ahead a little bit more, but not cutting back on the things that I love. So on the personal spending front, I did a low buy year for 2023, and I challenged myself to keep my personal spending under $300. And when I started recognizing that I wanted and needed to spend more on things that brought me happiness, I said, you know what, don't limit yourself on experiences for this year. Just limit your personal material item spending to $300. So I did good with that. I think I only went over maybe 1 or 2 months, and not by far, by any means. So I'm going to continue that going forward, but I'm going to try my best to also lump experiences into that $300 a month spending as well. Just as a personal mission for 2024, I want to do better about thrifting, buying things secondhand, just overall being way more conscious about how I'm spending my money. I want to buy less. And when I do purchase things, I want my default to be check secondhand first, check Facebook Marketplace, check the free groups on Facebook. I want that to be my default instead of just going to whatever app and just boop, order it, here it comes. No, there's no need for such an instant gratification mindset when it comes to acquiring things in our lives. And I think that is something I really want to hone in on for 2024. I would say that 99% of the time when I want something, I can absolutely find it used for a fraction of the price. I just need to get over needing it right now. Going forward, I also want to continue to save every penny of my rental income. You guys know I'm not touching my rental income. I don't need to live on it just yet. That is like a few years down the line. So I'm just continuing to save every penny of that, and that will be deployed for future real estate expenses, renovations, whatever comes down the pipeline for me in that regard. And I'm also going to continue to focus on healthy eating, exercise, walking, things that bring me mental happiness, because that directly impacts my finances, because I'm very much someone who eats my feelings. And so when I'm sad, angry, frustrated, whatever, I can tend to lean towards ordering food. Delivery is not cheap. Takeout in general is not cheap. So I want to be better about staying mentally positive and focusing on eating healthier, eating out less, impulse buying less, all those kinds of things. Though impulse buying is definitely something that is mentally induced for me as well. So keeping it positive up here helps keep money in my bank account. Another habit I want to carry forward into 2024 is setting aside $500 to $600 a month to my savings. And that's just the value that I'm able to save at my current salary with my current expenses. That's certainly going to change as the year progresses. Finances change. Hopefully I buy a house. Hopefully I get a raise. That kind of thing. All of these things are going to impact how much I'm able to set aside every month. But as of today, as it stands, I have been consistently able to still put $500 to $600 a month away despite having such an erratic 2023. So that makes me happy, and there's no reason that I can't continue that going forward into 2024. And again, we'll reassess that as circumstances change. And since we're talking about it, the next hopeful move is buying a house. I've talked about it a couple times, but I do hope to buy a house hack. I am actively looking. If it doesn't happen in Q1, whatever, I still want to make it happen sometime this year. Yes, that is going to be a huge temporary step back to my savings when I drop a bunch of money on a down payment. But again, the hope with real estate, the outlook with real estate is long term. I want to live in that unit, fix it up while I'm in it, fix up the property, add value to the property, make it a nice rental home that someone like me would actually want to live in, because there's so much shit about rentals that piss me off. 98% of them are just due to lazy landlords, and I do not want to be that person. So I want to provide other hardworking adults a nice, comfortable rental place, since some people don't actually care to be tied to a physical house and prefer to rent. And then the other thing I want to do financially this year is increase my W-2 income. I have my bachelor's and my master's in marine biology and coastal zone management. Now, I've never been under the impression that marine biology would provide a very lucrative, high-paying career by any means. But I'm in a really interesting opportunity with my current employment situation where, which is environmental consulting, by the way. My skill set and my background actually lends itself really uniquely to the world of offshore wind farms, which are more or less like the next green technology. So let's call it what it is. All these big energy companies just want their next green energy tax break. So let's all put some offshore wind farms out in the ocean, and other countries are much more ahead of us technology-wise than we here in the United States. But it's coming around. It's gaining popularity. these projects are trickling in at work, and people are hearing about my experience and my background as far as offshore experience. I've spent many years offshore, as well as environmental permitting, and you need both of those things to create a wind farm. So people are wanting to use me and my experience on these proposals when we are pitching to be the environmental consultants for these big wind farms. And my supervisor is very encouraged and hopeful that that is going to lend itself to much more work going forward and more specialized work in an area that's unique and interesting to me. So I'm really excited about that, and I think I can use my experience to leverage, or at least give me a little bit of leeway when it comes to being able to negotiate a higher salary when the time comes. That was not an option for me in my last job at the last 5 years. I was in a union and I didn't have say in what my salary could be. Everyone was paid the same. So how crazy that my background and experience, and something that I realized in my 20s and 30s was maybe not the great career choice I dreamed it would be when I was a child. And it's sad that I got into that mind space, because at the heart of all of my hearts, my marine science, aquatic environments, those are my heart, and the planet is my heart. And it's just so cool to finally feel like it's a useful degree. I've gotten so much flack over the years from all the Karens out there that were like, before you took out these student loans, didn't you do a cost benefit analysis? And it's like, oh my God, yeah, Karen, thanks. Anyway, I do have a goal of maybe getting a raise to $80,000 this year in 2024. That feels weird and cringy to say out loud. I don't know if that's possible at all. I have no flippin' idea. For reference, I'm at $73,000 right now. Like, it's not a big secret. I'm pretty well median income for the country. I share every bit of my money, so it's not like this is hidden information. So yeah, that would be quite a jump. But it's a goal. Girl can have big goals. In years past, I've done like a very monetary goal. Like, I want to save $10,000 and pay $20,000 on my student loan. I'm not doing that to myself for 2024. I just want to keep saving, keep investing, forward progress above all else. And because of my habits, I don't operate with consumer debt anymore. I don't want to finance anything ever again. I just, blah. This wealth building process overall has been messy. It's been hard. It's been so incredibly mentally draining. And prior to 2023, I wanted different, and you have to do different when you want different, and you need different so badly for yourself. It was so damn painful. Progress was slow at first, which was discouraging, and it takes committed, continued effort and remembering why you want to do differently for yourself. I lost myself a little bit along the way there, and I needed to operate like a robot and with that fierceness, because it was so necessary to relearn all of the shitty financial spending habits that I had prior to 2018. It's such a steep learning curve, but I just had to get out of that situation. And a lot of my situation just came from ignorance and going with the flow of society, because it is normal to carry debt. It's normal to carry balances on credit cards and go buy the new iPhone every year, and to go buy the biggest house that you are absolutely approved for, and buy a new car all the time and finance it. And astronomical car payments are normal. And that breaks my heart for everybody. If we're going to be honest, that breaks my heart with everybody. That is the flow of society. Consumerism. More, bigger, better. And to break yourself out of that in it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. It's hard. There's so much temptation to backslide. You get so much flack for it from other people, whether you share what you're doing or don't. It's people look at you funny when you're trying to do anti-society things. But damn, it's so exhausting and mentally crippling to just constantly be worried about money. Oh my God, it sucks so much. 2023 was just the year that I said F that. Let that go. No more worrying. No more letting it dictate my job, letting it dictate my personal life, letting it dictate everything, my mental space. And no more of that. We left that in 2023. Goodbye, bitches. Don't ever come back. And I'm just so excited for 2024 and this new happy mental space that Rachel's been in for the last few months. We're feeling better. We're saying goodbye to the bullshit. We said goodbye to the shitty job and the shitty mental mindsets of everything that was before. And now I want this feeling, this happiness, this joy, the confidence that you got yourself despite your situation. I want that for everybody. And so that's a little bit of my personal mission for 2024 as well, and to keep sharing a balanced approach that's healthy for the mind and the wallet. So if you want to join, please feel free. I'm going to be doing a financial reset, probably my next video. So jump in with us if you want to do that for yourself. You want to take 2024 and turn shit around for you, whatever that looks like, or just improve your trajectory in a much more mentally positive way. Let's do this. If you're still watching right now, I love you so freaking much. Thank you so much for being here, and all of you that have supported me on this journey. I absolutely would be remiss if I didn't mention the insane amount of support monetarily and verbally, or through comments from all of you. My life is so different because I started sharing this financial journey online, and you guys know I don't talk to people in person about this shit because no one wants to talk about it in person. And so I have resorted to the intranets and finding my tribe. And so thank you for being here and being part of my tribe and keeping me going. You guys have been the only thing that have kept me going through this really shitty, hard process. And thank you for seeing me out the other end. I feel like Ace Ventura coming out of the rhinoceros right now, if you know what I'm saying. So yes, yes for sunlight and fresh air. But also in 2024, I'm going to be sharing a lot more about the personal endeavors I'm working on as well, like supporting a local economy and doing the right thing for my nutrition and my health and all of those kind of things as well. So here we go. Goodbye to 2023. Thank you for being here. Thank you for everything that you have showed and done for me. Thank you. Don't forget to thank yourself for all the damn hard work that you've put in to your own damn self. And if you haven't been doing that, it's time to do that now. So next video, financial reset. Let's do it. I'll see you guys then. Bye.